Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sherlock. This is Thursday, so it is Bite-Sized Thursday, a subsidiary of Off Slate Media. I am Jake. This is Jared. I don't know if I've ever introduced us during the course of this whole.
Yeah, we have.
Have I? Okay.
We did in the first
I have
episode.
a really bad memory right now. So we are today going to be watching the final episode of the main run of Sherlock from the contemporary series
on BBC.
So far, we have not been, super impressed with this fourth series, but
No, a pretty underwhelming first episode, but a good second episode. I don't know if it's quite a return to form, but it's good.
Yeah,
It was a good episode last week.
it makes you want. Watching that second episode, I remember it made me want that first episode to be better.
Oh, it has all the groundwork to be something more compelling, and it's just not.
Yeah. But any high hopes you have for? We apparently are gonna get to meet Sherlock's sister.
Yeah, it's like that.
Iris or whatever her name is.
I can't remember, but it's like she's revealed to be that third sibling. And she's been behind stuff in this fourth series, and it's got to tie to Moriarty somehow because that's how the series was set up at the end of series 3 and then in The Abominable Bride. But we haven't really gotten much connection until like the very end of the last episode. They tend to do that. So this is the big ending.
Yeah. I was surprised that. So I don't know much about Sherlock. The whole Enola Holmes thing, is that canonical to what Arthur Conan Doyle wrote?
I don't know why you're asking me. I think this whole series, you're the one who knows more about Sherlock than I do. Because you even said during The Abominable Bride.
You tend to do more research than me, though, so I don't know what you've looked up.
Because if I look up something on a show we're watching, and I haven't seen before, it tends to spoil.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Because you said in the final problem in the Conan Doyle stuff, to your knowledge, is where he pushes Moriarty off the cliff into the waterfall,
yeah.
Which they showed in The Abominable Bride, where it was Watson kicking him, and it was a joke, and it actually was pretty funny.
I would say that The Abominable Bride is probably the best episode we've seen since the middle one of Series 3.
I don't know. That last episode of Series 3 is great, too.
Yeah.
I really like Series 3. I really do.
Yeah, I think if you can get past the joke of how did he do it.
Yeah, that's like the one
episode.
big reservation I have is they turn it into a joke and they don't really tell you how he did, and it does feel like they think they're smarter than we are, and I think we're smart enough to know, no, I think you just don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
But that's the last series. This series has been easily the weakest, but we have one more episode looking at people's reactions. Not great, not as negative as the Six Thatchers, but it's fine. I think most people say it's kind of a ending.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you read that they're always open to doing more, but I don't know that they should.
I don't think they will. It's been 7 years. If they do, I bet you it's going to be like a movie or something.
I would take that.
I would watch it. Great cast, great characters and interactions, and it's really funny, and they really understand like this modern version of Sherlock, what it would be like. So it's like there's a lot of great things, and I would watch more. But this is the technical end of the show today.
Yep. You got anything else to say?
Now let's dive into this final problem.
All right, let's
take a bite.
Welcome back. I don't want to speak for you. I did not like that much. Coming as a person who was just so invested in at least the first couple of seasons, that was not the ending I wanted for the two of them. Spoilers, basically nothing happens.
It's good blueprint for an episode, and I like parts of it. But it's
Did you get the vibe that they wanted it to be Moriarty there and not his sister?
Yeah, but it's like after the whole Sherlock not dying, it's like we can't do it again.
That's kind of what it
for sure.
That's kind of what it felt like.
And
I found myself even like looking up online. Okay, like is this taken from the final problem where Moriarty is actually supposed to be there? It's not entirely, but at the same time, like for
the build up for him being back, it ends up not being him, and it's kind of a disappointment.
Well, not even that. Just like for how they build her up in that second episode, and then just like I swear we were left with with John at gunpoint. I swear he was at gunpoint.
Oh, she shot him. That's right.
Did she?
He said she shot him.
When did he?
Tranquilized him. That's it.
When?
In the house, I think, isn't it? I don't remember.
In the second episode?
Yeah. Something happened where a gun went off. I don't remember.
Yeah, the gun went off, and then it cut to, like, red or something like that, or white or whatever.
Yeah.
Did they reference it in this, and I just missed it?
At the beginning, they mentioned something, and then he's like, well, she did shoot me, and then it was only a tranquilizer.
What a stupid way to... I love these actors. I don't like this last season.
It feels like, from what people say about Game of Thrones, where they have to end it, so they don't really... They just kind of end it. They don't... It's like there doesn't feel like the same effort was put into it.
I feel like Eurus could have been a good villain had they used all 3 hour-and-a-half episodes to, like...
Set that up?
Yeah. Like, make it one story. You have... And as you said, like, you can make a finale as long as you want. Just do it.
Yeah, like, I was telling Jake how the first, like, 20 to 30 minutes is set up to get to... What is it, Sheridan? Something like that. Sheriford,
yeah.
Sheriford. But it's so... The pacing is so bad. It's called, we just got to get here. Let's not draw this out. They just get there, and they're so good at what they do. It's like... It's a show finale. All these episodes are 90-some minutes. Like, just add another half hour or so, like, or an hour. Like, make it longer. Show us them getting there without making it too long. Pace it a little better so it builds to that. When they get there, it's supposed to be a big deal. And maybe have, again, more setup for the sister. So then going into it, it's okay. How is she doing all this without leaving? But it's just we gotta get there.
I like the way that they make that is kind of interesting, like doing like a Silence of the Lambs things like we were talking about. But it just
and making it like a big labyrinth of his, like trial to put him through.
Yeah,
and it's like that's good stuff. His conversation with her without the glass, we'll get to it in a second, is actually good. Him for how smart he is not noticing there's no glass is kind of dumb, because even we could tell in certain shots just if he angled it a little different. Like, yeah, you can see reflections. There's lights on both sides.
I'm pretty sure there was glass in the beginning of that shot, and then they just cut to a time when there wasn't.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of dumb. And then as it's going, you get to have one of the other two shoot the governor. It's like, okay, sure, and then it's going to get to but he has to take out one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they did that is like he's going to take himself out, and she can't allow that. Makes sense. The mole scene is the best scene of the whole episode.
Mm-hmm. For the trials, I think it would have been better to have people we know or have met from the series.
Do a Killing Joke type thing, where you have people. Well, in that case, it's just Gordon.
I don't.
But you know what I'm saying.
Sorry, when you say Killing Joke, my mind immediately jumps to the movie now.
I was talking about
the actual...
Yeah. Like stuff like that where it's like you have maybe Lestrade it's Lestrade, Mole, whatever her name, the naked lady's name is Irene Adler. Like each like problem leads to the next to lead to the big one, the final solution. Like I like the line, your first case is your final solution. I like that. the twist of the dog isn't real being a kid. It's like, okay. But then like they go into explain like, oh, you killed him. It's like, we know that now. We kind of figured when Watson said these aren't dog bones, and she says, yeah, it wasn't a dog. It's like, okay, she killed the kid. Not trying to be nonchalant about it, but it's like, we get it. But then they explain it further. It's like, okay, you really do think you're smarter than us, the show.
Mm-hmm.
But we got it.
Yep.
And then you explained what you were just reading now about.
So I, for such a high show for me, in the earlier series, this is just such a letdown. So I'm reading some of the reactions from just from Wikipedia, and it says that someone from the Daily Dot called the show one of the most sexist episodes of the TV show. Eurus is a stereotypical female villain, ticks every box for the kind of mad woman who gets locked up in an asylum in a 19th century melodrama and commits crimes only motivated by the desire for male attention.
For context, it was Eurus wanted to play with her brother, but he had a best friend, so she got rid of the best friend. That's the root of everything. It's also, like, that's it?
Who is Nemo Holmes?
I don't know.
It acted like we should, like, there be some big revelation for us.
Well, then ask, like, the name of the girl on the plane, and it's like, oh, the plane doesn't even exist. It's in her head, and I was like, I feel like there's a way to make this work, but it's not working.
So that was her mind palace?
Yes, of sorts. Like, she can't.
But then if it was her mind palace and that woman was supposed to be her mother, why wasn't it? Oh my gosh. Again.
Why wasn't it what?
Why wasn't it actually her mother?
Well, then we would figure it out. And also, did we see much of the mother's face?
No.
And it would have been a younger version anyway.
I suppose.
I think the whole thing is like, I don't know how much they can hear sound effects either. Like the sounds around them. So I was like, I feel like they'd hear, like when you're on a plane like that, you'd hear something. Planes, especially when it's turbulent.
Well, we could hear stuff.
I feel like on the phone you'd hear turbulence for how much shaking and all that.
Yeah.
But you don't hear anything. And then, like, who is it? Just her making that voice? Because that sounded like a little girl.
That is what it sounded like when he actually goes into the room with her.
But it didn't sound the same. It sounded like an adult woman trying to sound like a kid. I don't know that. The whole thing, it's a big letdown. It's not, and then like the last thing with Mary on the message.
It's kind of frustrating.
Like I was like, okay, there's more to this message that I didn't realize there was more of. And then it's like a suit up ending of you are Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
And for some reason they're running out of wherever that was.
Again, it's like the end of a superhero movie. Because he kind of is a superhero.
Yeah.
Of sorts. But the show was, and I think that's why everyone likes the first two series more than the last two easily, but it felt grounded. Just with its quirks that made it interesting, and it was subversive. You get to the season 3 and the groundedness is gone, but it's still, I loved it still in series 3. I think it's because it lost the grounded feel, and that's what threw people off. And then now you get to this season, it's like, okay, now we've subverted so much, we have to keep going to the point where it's nothing anymore. There are reasons why you have concrete story
like an action show formulas. Than a smart show.
Yep. Became more action focused. They thought they were smarter than the audience, and so whenever they threw twists and turns and they don't make sense, or if they do, they don't, it's not natural feeling. It feels convoluted and contrived. It's forcing the story into these corners. It's like they sat down and wrote, well, it has to go here, here, and here. And then they filled in the gaps the best way they could, or like the quickest way they could, instead of a natural progression.
Now, I have said that about Moffat's writing since the latter years of his run on Doctor Who. And from what I understand, show running Doctor Who can have a tendency to just ruin you as a person. So if he's coming off the tails of Doctor Who, which he kind of was, I think, at that point, writing this, I get it, I suppose, but it's just sad to see it.
And we'll see about this, but go back to the first episode. Most of that episode is they're in London. They're either talking in his flat or they're like on the street talking while there's a chase sequence. But like that's most of the show is just conversations in places. And then you get to this and we're hijacking a boat, which the pirate line is stupid. The detective, the pirate. I go, is that supposed to be funny? That doesn't feel in character. I'll get to that in a second. And then, like, their whole way to get into the prison is so quick and whatever. And then we're into this maze game. It's like, if the first, like, chunk of the episode, or half the episode was spent building up their backstory more, because everything at the beginning in the flat with Minecraft is actually, like, decent. Everything.
Or and then once more time in the other episodes was spent.
That too.
Let Mary live, and
or handle that better, like we've talked about.
No. I'm straight up saying it. Let Mary live. Leave that part of the plot loose, and let her live. Deal solely with the comeback of Moriarty and Eurus. There is a way to build up to this where this works, but nothing before it has any momentum going into it. So it's just happening. And we're expected to feel this emotional, like, reaction. And there's nothing there for it.
Yep. My whole point was, like, we go from talking in their flat and spending time just in conversation, because the climax of the first episode is a conversation.
Yep.
To this, like, zany, borderline sci-fi, pulpy thing. It changed dramatically.
It was borderline sci-fi, wasn't it?
I mean, they have all this high-tech gear, and you know, the way it's set up, they're in a high-tech location, they're moving through it, like, just the way this whole thing works feels very pulpy, very silly.
Also, that pipe scene when he wakes up after getting tranquilized, apparently again, from shooting himself.
The pipe? I know what you're talking about. What pipe?
Where he goes up through the pipe, and the camera goes up through the pipe,
the
and
pipe
then shows
shot.
the roof of the island.
Yeah.
Let's file that under things we did because we can, not because we should.
And it's always been a show of trying to be flashy in its transitions.
There were a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
Toward the end.
Everything with him realizing it was a friend is good, with the light moving, and I like the shot after he's tranquilized where he just dips down into the water. Like, that looked cool. It's a good looking episode, except for one shot. That's the other thing too. There's a grenade in his flat that will go off with sudden movement, and it's a cool idea of like the good luck Jeds, and they all run separate ways, and they're jumping out the window. I go, okay, we literally just jumped.
So bad.
That looked.
Oh my god.
And also, it's like, I get it's supposed to be suspension of disbelief, but they jumped out of a second-story window onto concrete and somehow were fine. Because again, you can spend that time developing things if they're like rehabbing, like not in like a rehab, but just like.
But wait, maybe
healing.
Maybe there was some kind of illusionist there that made them fall asleep and.
Yeah.
I still say I would have bought it just if Moriarty was just there. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like that was supposed to be Moriarty, but they couldn't figure out a way that they were satisfied with to just have him be back.
Yep. Again, all that build-up just to be like, no, he talked for 5 minutes, recorded some funny things, and left. That's it. Okay.
I would have even bought that Eurus made him do all that.
Yeah. Like he's been a puppet of hers the whole time.
Yeah.
It's more cliche, but it makes sense. And for him, he's rich and bored and brilliant, and then she's the smartest person on the planet who maybe you'd actually develop resentment for Sherlock and not just, I want to play with my brother. That's the other thing. For a show that tries to be so smart, they sure sounded pretty stupid. I think that's the biggest disappointment, is it felt lazy. It felt like, well, this is what this show should do. It's like, but it's like you don't even understand your own show. It's a shame. And we talked about, like, this is the last one, and they probably won't do another one, but they could. I wonder if they did, they'd learn their lessons. If they made more with time passed and the way the negative reaction, I wonder if they would do something better.
It'd still be the same writers.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
I wonder if the BBC I wonder if they asked for more, but the BBC wouldn't give them. Another episode would have covered it, but it's still. I still feel like even if the network says no, you only get XYZ, then you change your plan to involve XYZ into one story, not 3 separate stories, or one that makes believe like it's gonna connect and then doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, just for sake of we were talking about it, Sherlock Holmes does not have a sister in original canon.
Does he have a brother?
Yes.
What's his name?
Mycroft.
So that is.
For sure.
So they had Minecraft back in the 19th century.
Yeah. Good old internet Legos.
The more I think of it, like, I thought it was a fine episode overall, but now that we talk and discuss, it's like, yeah, it's not good. I think I might like it less than, dislike it more, is what I meant to say, than the Six Thatchers. I'm starting
At least there was something of substance there. At least I felt something. Although I did feel something when Molly made Sherlock say he loved her.
That's the best scene.
Yeah.
Because Molly is great, and her not picking up is interesting. I like how she doesn't pick up the first time. And then when she does, and then they're talking, he's like, don't do that, don't. And it's like she has no idea what's going on. It's a setup we've seen before, but because we like the characters and the earnestness in his tone when he says it the second time, it's like, okay. There's good stuff sprinkled in, but it's the overall product is just lazy.
That's, I think, probably the biggest letdown part of it for me. If I felt like they actually put effort or like gave me any sort of credit as a viewer, I think I'd feel differently about it. But
yeah, as far as an episode, one of the worst. As far as like a series finale, like a season finale here, pretty disappointing. As a whole show finale, very disappointing. This is the last thing you leave us on, a Batman and Robin shot.
Well, at least their mother's name isn't Martha.
Yeah, you've made BVS comparisons, you were saying, to this.
No, I made BVS comparisons to a movie we're talking about later.
Okay, yeah, but you know what I was saying.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, but we still have one more week.
Oh yeah, we're gonna lump our final thoughts. We're gonna watch the unaired pilot, A Study in Pink. Largely, from what I understand from reading about it, it's in a more American version of that. I don't really know. I've never seen it.
And it's like half the length.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes as opposed to that. But we'll get to that next week, and that'll be our
wrap up our thoughts.
That'll be our grand finale for Sherlock. I'll save it for next week. Yeah. Is that everything you got?
Yeah.
So if you're waiting for us to watch A Study in Pink again and end where we began, where can they find us?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, The Funny TikTok, and X,
formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you like us and follow us on all those apps. And make sure you check out our groovy website.
And if you want to come along every Thursday with this, solve more mysteries, although at this point just one more
that we've already solved, we're resolving.
Let's
take a bite.